like to call the meeting of the District 721 to order. Please note everyone's here except Kit and Shanebar. Now we'll stand and say the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We don't have anyone for open forum, so if I can get a motion for approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. And another motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Okay, I don't know if we have any committee reports.
Yeah, I have one.
Okay,
Southwest Metro met for the first time for the new school year last Tuesday. And a couple of highlights were first reading of the teacher seniority list. We approved contracts for the Southwest Metro and the teachers, and also for the administrative assistants, for other office, and also custodians. So those were the highlights of the meeting. And they're not starting school until after Labor Day, so today was their first day back for staff.
CPAC meet? Did CPAC meet?
No CPAC meeting.
Okay, how about community ed?
No.
And wellness?
No.
And early childhood also did not meet. Okay, now the superintendent's update.
Yes, well, today, we just finished, had our first day of school for secondary students. Elementary have their individual meetings for 2 days, assessment conferences with their kiddos. So went off to a good start. In fact, received an email from a parent saying how well the assessment conferences were done at the elementary level, and they were very pleased about it. So yeah, things went smooth, and especially the roundabout intersection. We had people out there watching, and we had representatives from the city, and it's so far so good. It was
No accidents?
no accidents, and flowed in smoothly into the parking lots. It
Nobody
wasn't-
jumped over the
wasn't-
top?
Wasn't back, no one jumped over the thing, and it wasn't backed up to like it is to Malastron or anything like that. So for first day, we'll see what happens, but that went very well too. So, and I just want to mention too, opening day celebration. Well, we had teachers were in last week for 4 days, Monday through Thursday, and that was one of the best opening day celebration we've ever had. It was just went very well. We had kids performing. We had a lot of things going on. Gene Schmidt, one of our parents, gave a talk, and we're going to post it on social media tomorrow, along with my speech too, but she did a fabulous job as a keynote speaker, so it was really neat. So yeah, we're off to a good start and looking forward to a great year.
Now the summer update and fall review.
Okay, we got Tony Boothie and Maren Ballard will be taking us through this.
Good evening, School Board and Superintendent Dittberner, and thank you for having Maren and I here tonight. And Mr. Dittberner had asked us, like we kind of do every year, to go over our goals from last year, 2018-2019 school year, and then also talk about the goals that have been set for this current school year, 1920. We're also going to then just visit a little bit about some of the work that has been done over the summertime that we're very proud of. But at this time, Maren's going to go over last year's goals, 18-19.
Good evening. So the Minnesota assessments, the MCA data, we are not able to publicly release that information tonight. We will be sharing that on Thursday when the state allows us to release data. So we will be back at the end of September to present you with official numbers. But tonight we're able to at least provide you updates in terms of where we are at with goals. We just aren't able to provide you the specific data yet. So you'll see these 4 goals were our academic achievement goals that Mr. Dittberner worked with us in setting for our district last fall. And we did not meet any of the academic goals. However, we did meet our graduation goal that was set last fall, which we were excited to report. And in addition, last year we had a targeted social emotional learning goal, and we had 90% of our students, as ministered by our survey that we send out to our students that they fill out in school. You'll see 90% felt safe and welcome, and so we were excited to see that number as well. And also at a later date, Amy Johnson and I will be sharing with you the data from the Minnesota student survey, which we pooled many of our grade levels last year in that survey that we do every 3 years that is provided by the state. So more data to come, but for now, this is what we're able to provide you.
As we go into next year's goals, we'll read, last year we had 4, this year we're going to have 3. And very important as far as what the specific goals are, but I'll also go into a little bit of detail about what we do with those goals through the building and then our teachers. And that's as equally as important because that's the work that's really being done within our buildings. So the academic achievement, the percentage of students who meet or exceed standards as measured by the reading, math, and science MCA tests will be 20% or higher above the state average in spring of 2020. The graduation rate, which again Maren had alluded to last year, but we believe that's very important. And as Mr. Dittberner has said a couple of times, one of the highest in the state of Minnesota, but we continue to even reach and set that goal higher. Our 4-year New Prague Senior High 2020 graduation rate will be 97% or higher. And then the social emotional learning, as measured by the annual student survey, students will feel welcome and respected within their school's learning environment. And for those of you that were able to make our welcome back, Mr. Dittberner did talk a little bit about that and the importance of how our parents feel about the kids, their safety, and how our students feel welcome and just safe within the school environment. So those are very important. Those 3 goals are given to us by Superintendent Dittberner. He's of course using his data and all of the data that he has and the entire district. So what we then do with that is every single year, the first week in August, we bring in our building leadership teams. So we have our 5 buildings plus early childhood and special education work together, and we bring in our leadership teams. We talk about the 3 goals. We talk about our 2019-2020 goals, the importance of them. Those are the overarching goals. From there, then the principals go to a room for approximately 3 hours, and they then build their building goals around the overarching goals. What are they going to do within the buildings to help us reach the district goals? From that, each principal works with their teachers during workshop week in the first couple weeks of the school year. Each teacher sets 2 different kinds of goals, a performance goal and a student achievement goal. Those student achievement goals are going to help reach the building goals. And then the building goals helping to reach the district goals. So that work is very, very important, and it isn't just a goal that's set out there by the school board or Superintendent Dittberner. It is actual an attainable goal that we have steps in how we are going to reach this, and it's the work that the teachers are actually doing. So that's the importance of us, how we're going to get to that. That work has already started, and we feel very confident and very good about that. What Marin's going to share now is some of the work with our teachers in helping to reach the goals that they actually set themselves and their building goals.
All right, so this past summer, the district office was very busy, and just a few highlights you'll be able to see here, but some that I want to highlight. We had over 71 staff attended conferences outside of NPAS, and that's beyond our certified staff. And so growing in our professional development with all areas of our employees. We also were very excited to welcome 24 new certified staff to New Prague 2 weeks ago, and we had an extra day with them. So new this year, teachers were with us for 3 days, and we were able to simply expand our professional development and training that we were able to provide them to really ensure that they could hit the ground running this week with the tools that they needed. And additionally, we had over 650 hours of work that was put in here this summer with teachers, and the teachers that came into work were engaging in standard alignment. So they were looking at their standards, they were looking at their assessments, and then they were looking at some of the data that they collected last spring to really refine. We have a couple areas who have received new standards from the state of Minnesota, and so they are deeply engaged in the process right now. So looking ahead to this fall, we have many new and exciting things that are happening, and I have 2 pages of bullets. However, there are many more areas that we could certainly highlight, but as I mentioned, there are new standards, and that includes science, and also FIED has new standards, so those are our big departments that we'll be working with. We're also really excited. I was here last month to talk to you about the middle school math curriculum, and so that is in full force this week. We are also excited to be partnering with Scott County for the Courage to Speak drug prevention program that you also heard me speak of last time as well. And in addition, we have many other areas, and our elementary report cards this year will be standards-based for all grades K-5. This is a shift. Last year we were K-3, and so our grades 4 through 5 teachers have been working diligently on that. And so all report cards K-5 will be more uniform than they have been in the past couple years, because we've been doing a 4-year rollout with the standards-based report cards. And we also are going to be adding, with your approval, some new literacy resources for our K-5 teachers at the elementary level. And I will talk about that.
You want to talk
in a
about
bit.
those 3 new classes too at the high school?
Sure. So we have the AP Computer Science, which is led by Michael Bailey, and he last year introduced our first computer science class. We had not had one at the high school, and so with the growth of that class, building on the momentum of that, so he is teaching that this year. And then we also added the athletic performance for the female athlete to differentiate a little bit of what is offered during that course, and that is being led by our new FIED teacher, Amara Meyer. And then our Integrated Healthcare 2 class is part of our MARS program, and so that is a new course that we are offering this year, and encompassed with that is the CNA licensure, and so students who take the Integrated Healthcare 2 class and then also take and pass the CNA assessment will be able to practice as a CNA, if you will. And that class is being led by Jeff Decker, and that will be offered during the 2nd semester. So those are the updates from the summer and just some of the things that we are looking forward to this fall. I also want to add that with our goals, as Tony and I come back to you later this school year, those goals will also be tied into our World's Best Workforce goals. And so we really try to integrate the goals, and so we don't have all these different pieces. We try to tie everything together. So when we say goal not met, it's also tied to what we'll be reporting to the state when we work on our 18-19 World's Best Workforce report, which will come to you later this fall.
Any questions?
Any questions?
Could you go back to the goal one, slide where you had academic, grad rate, and social emotional goals down? I just want to, yeah, that just so on the academic achievement, just so you know where we're at currently, our goal for this next year is to be 20% or higher. We're 14 this year. I think we'll probably end. I think we're 14% above the state, 15% in math. No, 14% in reading, 15 in math, and 18% in science. Which overall, science made a big jump up. Overall, MCAs we are up a little bit, but we didn't achieve our goal. But I think being 20% above the state is a good goal. I think we should be able to achieve. Graduation rate, I will mention this, 97%, that's one of the highest in the state. There's very few schools that are higher than that. And then the social emotional, that's one we're just starting on right now. We talk about 90%, but obviously we want all kids to be welcome and respected, and hopefully that number, I'm confident that number will go up too. But we do have data from each of the schools on that statement there. So it's, we think obviously academics are important, but the social emotional part is kids have to feel good, have to feel respected and safe if they're going to learn. So a very important part of it.
Now, next, approval.
Thank you.
Approval of the elementary literacy curriculum.
Yes. So we have been in a multi-year journey in terms of shaping our elementary literacy instruction. And through this, we have developed a balanced literacy framework. We've had some consultants that have helped us to develop this and how it looks in our district. And so with that, I'm asking for approval on new core resources for our K through 5 classrooms. Lucy Calkins reading program and Lucy Calkins writing program. These would be used in core literacy blocks with all of our students. In addition, I'm seeking approval for Fontes and Pinnell guided reading libraries. And what this would be a core set of books. It would be over 1,000 leveled titles that would be in packs of 6 that would be housed at each grade level at each site. So take Falcon Ridge, for example, they would have 6 different guided reading leveled libraries to be housed at the individual grade levels for them to use during their small group instruction. Currently, we have a guided reading library at all 3 buildings, but this would only enhance what they currently have. And right now, the library is centrally housed, whereas this library would be housed within the grade level. And each grade level library is different based on the level of the kids that they serve. For example, your level of books is going to be different, a kindergarten class compared to a 4th grade class, and so all of the titles are unique to the grade level. And so we would like to move forward with the purchase of these products to support our teachers in the next 2 years is when we would be phasing the 3 different products in with them.
I have a motion to approve the
So moved.
purchase.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Thank you.
Memorandum of Understanding for a therapy dog owner agreement.
Yep, we got Amy Johnson here, our Special Services Director. She's going to talk about this memorandum of understanding in regards to, it's going to be very similar to the one that we approved last year. Some of you might remember when we had the dog here. Okay,
Yeah.
go ahead, Amy.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for having me here. So I'm here to have the privilege of discussing an additional therapy dog agreement. Mary Drazen, a 2nd grade classroom teacher, has completed certification for her dog, Allie. And Allie is a golden retriever. And you'll see in the agreements very similar, in terms of what the purpose of the animal would be. And so Allie would help us to, help with that social, emotional, and learning challenges with behavior, as well as some, anxiety, self-regulation, coping skills, some test taking, and of course reading fluency. Now, due to Mrs. Drazen's, the nature of her job as a classroom teacher, she doesn't have the flexibility that some of our support staff, like a school social worker, such as Amy Hennon, has to do some individual or small group. So what we have for her is that she has pre-approval for different types of events, or in the case that we would need some support with a therapy animal during a crisis situation. So hers will look a little bit different. So as some of you might recall, Amy Hennon brings her animal in a couple times a month on a regularly scheduled basis. And Mrs. Drazen would have it be more as needed, and then there'd be prior approval. And it wouldn't be just for Falcon Ridge, it would be district-wide. So she'd work with the building administration to schedule that and have that communication out to the buildings. So otherwise, her MOU would be the same as Amy's. She's responsible for all of the vaccinations, the certification, any kinds of equipment that she might need, all of that. She has to have the special vest on the animal, just like you saw maybe when you were here for Amy Hennon's dog. So all of that would be identified, and of course there would be some teaching around, what the students or the adults would how they would need to approach the animal when she would have the animal in the building. So we have the MOU for your approval, of course, and in addition, I know that we have also had another staff member just recently will be completing certification for his animal, but that'll be in the next 4 to 6 weeks. And so John Shriver, who's a school psychologist, just completed certification for his animal. So he's going to want to go through the process too to get approved to be a handler for that, and that would look very similar to Amy Hennon. So, and that would be out at Eagleview Elementary. So, questions, thoughts?
There is no cost to the district for this?
No, not at all. So all the liability you'll see on this page 2 would be the responsible of the handler. So they take out their own insurance policy for that. So this
And
is,
I just
go
like
ahead.
comment, you know, it's gone with Amy Hennon, it's gone very well at Falcon Ridge.
well, very
So
well,
this first year, I mean,
very well.
I've only heard good things about it, so.
Yeah.
I-
It's really, we were very cautious in the beginning, so we started slow, and she increased her time towards the spring because she saw so much benefit in terms of, again, even reading fluency, helping kids that have some of that anxiety, reading out loud, or just reading in general, and of course, just the social emotional piece too, the regulation, peer interactions, you know, using the animal to help with some positive peer interactions. It's been really beneficial to a lot of our kids. So.
I'll make a motion to approve the memo of understanding and therapy dog owner agreement.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion
Thank you.
carried.
thank you, Amy.
Anything else? A motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. We are adjourned.